It's all over the internet. Learn to sing with an open throat. What does that mean and how does it help your singing? And more importantly, is it even possible to sing with an open throat? I've got all the answers as well as a practical exercise coming right up. I hope you'll stick around to learn more.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
G'day, Dr. Dan here. Welcome back to Voice Essentials, where everybody sings. We've dispelled a number of singing myths here on the Voice Essentials channel over the years, but this might just be the biggest one we've tackled today. The idea of singing with an open throat certainly sounds legitimate and, for me at least, conjures up imagery of an unhindered pathway that my sounds can travel along. At the end of it all, I think this is what singing teachers who encourage their students to sing with an open throat are ultimately aiming at, and there certainly isn't any malice in that. But can you actually sing with an open throat? Well, yes and no. You see, as we've discussed many times here on in previous videos, your body can be quite misleading at times, suggesting you are experiencing one thing when in fact your body is doing the exact opposite. Have a look at this graphic taken from Ken Bozeman's exceptional book, Practical Vocal Acoustics. Here we see two vowel shapes, E and R. Try quickly singing each of these vowels, mapping with your mind how they feel compared with what you see in the graphic. E, R. For many people, the kinesthetic sensations won't easily match up with the graphic. Ken Bozeman explains that most people perceive R to be the most open-throated vowel posture and E to be the least open-throated when the opposite is in fact the case. Interestingly, neither vowel produces a wide vocal tract from glottis to the lip. The E vowel has a wider pharyngeal space than the R vowel, but it still has a narrowed shape towards the front. And the R vowel, while relatively wide at the front, is instead narrow at the back. The challenge facing every singer then is to mentally remap the vocal tract so that the perceived physical sensations correctly align with the actual anatomical shapes being formed. We can achieve a truly open throat by inhaling noiselessly. Bozeman explains it can be accomplished by a subtle palatal lift felt more frontally toward the hard palate, accompanied by inhaling in such a way that the teeth and front of the mouth are cooled rather than the throat. Let's try that together now. Now, obviously in this activity we are not phonating, that is, we are not making any sound, but when it comes to producing sound, the ideal of singing with an open throat becomes a little bit more dubious. So why do singing teachers like myself instruct student singers to direct their attention to the back of the throat? For example, exercise 2 on my exercise CD, Dr. Dan's Voice Essentials, is all about vocal tract shaping, titled Sustain a Single Note with Lifted Soft Palate. I mean, is it even possible to lift the soft palate? I know there are other singing teachers here on YouTube who will tell you you can't learn to lift the soft palate, but I respectfully disagree. I certainly don't think you need to get hung up on it, excuse the pun, but developing a greater awareness of the very subtle sensations at the back of the throat, including the raising of the soft palate, is, in my teaching experience, helpful. Again, it all comes back to remapping your kinesthetic awareness. Now, allow me to state that once you start singing a vowel, the vocal tract, including the tongue and soft palate, will respond to shape the vowel in keeping with your national dialect. The idea of maintaining a raised soft palate is in keeping with the metaphorical instruction to sing with an open throat. Yes, as we saw earlier, for example, the R vowel is narrow at the back of the throat, but that doesn't mean that the resonance of the vowel won't be advantaged by a widening of the pharyngeal wall or a slight lift in the soft palate. But you can't take full advantage of these beneficial adjustments if you haven't first learnt to become aware of their subtle physical sensations. So let's now do an exercise that is designed to heighten your back of the throat awareness using the second activity from my exercise CD. But before we do the activity together, Take a quick moment to pound the thumbs up button if you've already learnt something from today's video. We'll be singing a single note for 4 counts using an R vowel, but before we do, let's return to the noiseless inhale we did earlier. Noiselessly inhale a few times and zone in on any sensations you may be able to feel at the back of the throat. Now, this will be easier to do for some than others, so take your time if you're not feeling anything straight away. One more. Now, singing an R vowel, I want you to try to maintain the noiseless inhalation vocal tract shapes you just did all while you sing the vowel. Ya, ya, ya. Have a listen to what happens if I don't purposefully lift and shape the back. Ya. The tone becomes more thinned out a little. Ya, 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 ya. Hopefully that's coming across in the recording. There are 2 things to be mindful of here. Firstly, yes, the back of the tongue will rise when you produce an R sound. This doesn't mean that your soft palate needs to droop to meet it. Secondly, some of you might notice that the tongue not only wants to rise, for some the tongue will also want to be inclined to drag backwards. Do your best to maintain a forward placed tongue while you create the note on the vowel. You might also like to try using your finger as a spacer to tame the jaw's tendency to want to drop open. The more open the jaw, the narrower the pharynx is likely to become. I hope this has all been helpful, clarifying the instruction to sing with an open throat. The devil is always in the detail, hey? Let me know how you get on with the activities we've covered today with your comments below. And if you've enjoyed the video and you haven't already subscribed, then I invite you to visit the channel, subscribe and join our ever-growing community of singers from across the globe. I'll see you again soon. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.